Good morning. I'm Miguel Strickland, and this is my technology connected lesson for IL 650. I'm here with one of my teammates that we'll refer to as LF, and our other teammate could not be with us today, and that is CS, but we are very thankful for her too. Due to certain restrictions, we were not able to record this lesson when it was taught in the classrooms. So LF and I are just going to give you an overview of what we did and how we implemented this inside the classroom. So the introduction to it is that Alabama has a new literacy law that third graders must be on the grade level reading to be promoted. And we have a lot of students in our building that do not currently meet these requirements. Even students that have already been promoted past the third grade aren't quite reading on grade level. And so we wanted to focus on fluency and comprehension. We wanted to focus on showing the students how to make sure that they can log on and use MyOn. And then we also wanted to review the accelerated reader program. And so just a couple of quick key definitions. MyOn is an interactive digital library for our students, and then it's based on their interest and then their star reading score that they take. And so it gives them, books kind of on their level and that fit their interest. And then another definition, which is the accelerated reader. Essentially, it's a very popular program that is used in schools, and it helps the teachers track the students' independent practice and progress in reading. So it's been around for quite some time. They just keep tweaking and adjusting it to make it work the more that we implement different technologies and things. And so some of the pre-teaching that we had to do before the lesson was actually taught. We had to review the procedure for AR. And LF, do you mind talking a little bit about what you did as far as for the pre-teaching?
Yes, absolutely. I don't mind at all. The kids had been out of school for a while. So we went through the procedure for getting back onto AR, because they have to be able to log into their computers. And in our district, they have a complete email and a password that they have to know and be able to place into the computer. Then when they have done that, and they're able to get on there and we're able to go through AR, I made an anchor chart to hang in the classroom so that they would have a reference of the procedure, because they have to log into the computer. They have to be able to find Clever, and then through Clever, they have to find Reading Renaissance. And after getting onto Reading Renaissance, they have a choice of things to get. And one of those choices is Accelerated Reader. So after going through that procedure, then of course we would take the STAR test. Everybody has to take a STAR test at the beginning of the year, and then to explain their reading level. And their reading level is really the zone of proximal development, but children would never understand that. They do understand that that's roughly the grade level that they're reading on. So when they actually get on AR, they choose AR books, or they choose things from MyOn, they understand that that ZPD means that's where they are reading, and that came from the STAR test that they took. Another prerequisite that we had to do before we could explain MyOn is to actually get onto MyOn and take their preference assessment. And what that is it's a 25-question assessment to determine what the kids are interested in. Because not only do they get to choose books on MyOn, but if they choose it out of the recommended books, it's going to be in their reading level, and it's going to be on something that they chose from this assessment that they were interested in.
Okay. And so
this slide is showing what the children would see after they navigated onto Clever, chose Reading Renaissance. You can see there's a place for their STAR reading test to take their STAR reading test. Accelerated Readers in the orange, and the MyOn choice is in the purple.
And they would click on the purple MyOn, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And so this is what the preference assessment would look like for the students. We took a screenshot and put it on there just to kind of give you an idea. Once again, it tells you about the placement test and the 25 questions, and it should take around 10 minutes. And then it personalizes the library for each individual student.
Correct. And so this has to be done because of our non-readers. This has to be a small group.
And so here we have the student reading level screenshot, and she just talked about the ZPD. And so here you can see the student star score, and then the ZPD is right here where my cursor is going. So 1.1 to a 2.1, giving you an idea of the range that the books of the student that it will give the student to read.
Right. And also to the left, if you don't mind pointing out the browsing bar. So that is if you wanted to choose a book by topic. It will not just be the ZPD for that. If you choose a book by topic, you might get a first grade book or you might get a fifth grade book. So that's where it becomes really advantageous because the books can be read to the children.
So now we're getting into the part where we actually teach the lesson. And so the students sign into the computer and they have to locate Clever on the HCS network. And then they go to the Reading Renaissance app. They click on the MyON program, which we just showed you in the screenshot earlier. It was a little purple button that said MyON. And so it gives you the search bar to where the students can browse the recommended books, and then they can read or listen to the book of their choice, and then they're prepared to take the AR test.
So Mr. Strickland, when I was teaching the lesson though, we did not use the browser bar. When they browsed the first time through, sir, they just browsed the books that MyON recommended for them. Okay. That way that they knew where to go to first. Okay. And I think you've got a screenshot of that later.
And so here is the AR sample of a screenshot. So this is the accelerated reader sample of the screenshot showing you what it looks like from the student view. The multiple choice test questions will help determine each student's comprehension skills.
Right.
And
so I don't mean to interrupt, but this is what their AR test would look like. So when they click AR, when they say, I want to take an AR test after they finish a MyON book, those are examples of what the test questions would really look like on AR.
And so does it read the questions to the students? Because that seems to be a little lengthy for second graders.
Okay, so that is the choice. That's an accommodation that you can make using MyON for different students. But yes, especially if you were browsing by topic and it was over their grade level, yes, you would want those test questions read to them.
Okay. And so here's the sample from the student perspective under AR. It's a screenshot of that.
Page out of MyON from a student computer, and you can tell through her preference assessment that she really liked cats. And so if she read one of these, she's got a choice. And what we did is we had her, this is the book that she was going to select. She can read the book, it'll offer information, she can add it to her library, and she can take her AR quiz. So of course we would go through the procedure because, you know, we are working with 7-year-olds that you've got to read that book first or listen to it first before you can take an AR quiz. But these books on recommended for you that we're looking at right now, that would be in the ZPD. So really they could read these by themselves. So if the child didn't accommodation of listening to the book, this child would be able to read those books independently and be able to do this.
And so if they happen to click the info button, does that just give them information on what the book, it kind of, you know, a little synopsis of the book?
It does, yes. It's going to tell her that this book is about cats.
Because we would have never guessed that just by looking at, you know, what the recommendations were. So
right, yes.
Okay, and so teaching the lesson continued.
So
They
I'm
cer-
going to jump in here again, and I'm sorry. It was a very lofty thing to think that I would be able to teach that all on one day. So this is like a second day part of the lesson. So even though like working with little kids, that was where we just left off. This is probably part 2 of our lesson, is how to use the browser bar. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you are totally good. We are a team, and so teamwork makes the dream work. So if you want to go ahead and elaborate more, you can explain the next couple of bullets. That's fine too.
Okay, that'll be great. So the next part is I wanted them to learn how to actually search a topic, because we're going to use that later on in the year. And so our topic was animal habitats, and that's where they learned to use the browser bar that we saw earlier. And so they type that in, but when that comes up, that might be a 1st grade level, or that might be a 4th or 5th grade level. And that's where it's that I really like that it reads the book to them. So even if it's above their level, it's not above their comprehension level. They will understand that on animal habitats. And so at that point, they went ahead and we took the test. And then I had them log off of Myon, and I had them go to AR, because until they really see what they're doing is making progress on AR, they don't understand that those 2 programs are really truly connected, and what that the work on progress on AR, and that they're going to get all the rewards and all their badges that they want to accrue by working on Myon. And that's where they make that aha connection. I see why we're doing this now.
So I'm assuming they'd love to look at their badges and see their accomplishments.
They do, and they want to show each other what they've done and see what badges other people are on, and they want me to know what badge they have.
And so in the student search topic, of course, once again, we are here, and it's got the recommended books for the students, going from their test scores and then their preference assessment. So it picks out kind of recommended books for them and gives them the option to kind of sift through and sort through and browse and see stuff that they want to read or that they're interested in.
Absolutely.
All right. And then so as far as our research extension, we'll use Myon to meet our ELA standards for each for student research. And then, that's kind of our continuation of this project and making sure that technology is implemented into our classrooms. But as far as, a direct reflection on this assignment for my class, would there be anything that you suggest we do different, or anything that should be maybe added to the assignment that we could do and make it better or maybe more usable for our school?
So yes, as I said, my plan was a little lofty, and I had to break it into 2 different days. Could it even be possibly broken into 3 different days? And I would do more of this in small group, because our students have had limited exposure in school due to our COVID situation. And I had to regroup several times just to make sure that the kids understood what we were doing and working together in small groups. Even though I did do that for preference assessment, I think I might have done this as a small group activity, especially the first time they got on there and they started browsing and they used the browser.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's really, the only thing that we could have tweaked a little bit different, we are in pretty good shape. But you never know how you would do it differently until you actually put it in place and kind of implement it and then build on it from there. So.
Yep, it was a good job.
All right. So, and then lastly, I've got my reference slides, which are renaissance.com and understood.org. We appreciate you tuning in. Once again, we hate that our other teammate could not be with us today for this. Getting into my teachers' classrooms, trying to observe this, was a challenge, but thankfully they worked with me and were able to help me out with this project. So thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.